Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending today's STEM/STEAM speaker series. I'd like to start with the land acknowledgement. Black Youth Success and ACE and Company acknowledges that the land we are standing on is traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, Métis peoples. BYS acknowledges that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. BYS and ACE also acknowledges all treaty peoples, including those who came here as settlers, as migrants, either in this generation or in generations in past, and those of us who, as forcibly displanted Africans, came here involuntarily, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade and slavery. BYS and ACE pays tribute to our African ancestors. So welcome. My name is Antoinette Ellis. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ACE and Company Limited, here with Anu Bari, which is the Director of Partnership and Education of ACE and Company Limited. We want to welcome to you this series, and first I'd like to tell you about our partner, BYS. Black Youth Success is an organization that supports Black youth in education, which is ensuring Black youth are engaged in school and have access to resources to prepare them for life. Safety, ensuring Black youth are safe and engaged in meaningful opportunities and are connected. Health, ensuring Black youth are physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy and well. And also the community. ACE and Company is a recruiting advisory firm that helps women and young girls explore careers in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We also partner with nonprofit organizations to bring STEM awareness and STEAM awareness to all children across North America. We want to welcome you again. This is series part 2 of 8, and we are so excited to have you all here to learn about these upcoming speakers. Go ahead, Anu.
So before we begin today, we'd like to go over some workshop norms for those of us in the audience. Please keep your mic muted throughout the entire session until we have Q&A at the end. Your camera's also off. If you do have any questions, please keep them ready for the end. There'll definitely be time to bring your questions forth to Desmond, and please keep your comments respectful. So before we begin talking to our special guest today, Tony, I kind of want to set the stage, level set, and just kind of explain to everybody, what is STEM/STEAM, and what are some careers that students can think about in STEM or STEAM?
Good question. And a lot of people are asking this all across the world because it's easy to get mixed up. But STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math, while STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And the thing is, arts includes the creative thinkers, the collaborators, and great communicators. We don't want to exclude them from STEM because a lot of careers that we see around the world involve arts, involve STEAM. So instead of, working against each other, it's actually like two sides of the same coin. Arts is connected throughout all science, technology, engineering, and math areas. And that's what we want to explore. So when we talk about STEAM careers, we're talking like mechanical and civil engineer, architect, website app designer, modern urban planner, product designer, animator, sound engineer, video game designer, medical illustrator, graphic designer. Even a fashion designer is considered STEAM, interior designer, photographer, sports announcer, and it goes on. So a lot of times people just think, when they hear STEM or STEAM, they think it's just technology, but actually it's a much wider and bigger world that encompasses everything. And when we collaborate, we got to collaborate with everyone, the artistic people and the people that are more technical. When you marry those two together, it's awesome what could come about it.
That sounds really exciting, and I hope our students really take a lot away from the different type of careers we're going to be highlighting. So let's go forward. Take it away, Tony.
No problem. So our special guest and dear friend is Desmond McKenzie. So he is the CEO of Leadertree Incorporated. Desmond brings 20 years of leading the people side of technology, transformation projects across industry and government. Clients range from AWS and Scotiabank to brand new startups. As an executive coach and consultant, Desmond asks, what do you really want? And he helps you achieve it. So, Desmond, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here with us to share about your journey. So, why don't we get on to it? Anu's going to share her screen, and we're going to talk about this awesome presentation that you put together. So happy that you could be here.
So, as you see on the screen, my feeling right now is wow. For those of you who are online with us, and for those who are going to be watching this, the recorded version of this, same message. Wow, happy to meet you. Happy to be a part of your journey. Happy to share whatever I can. And we're going to do this over the next few minutes and discuss and explore. So, wow, great to be here. So we'll move on to the next message that or question, I guess it would be, that I'd like us to think about. What is possible when people get together? And Tony, you kind of mentioned it, that when people bring different things, different ingredients, right, into the kitchen, and we all get together, what is possible? I happen to feel that what happens, what is possible when people get together is literally unlimited. It is unlimited. Because with everybody that joins into a collaboration, and when I say get together, it could be in one room. Very special things happen when you get humans together in a physical space. And it is also possible to get together in a virtual space in such a way that many of those ingredients can still interact and can create something that none of the individuals could do alone, and maybe none of the individuals even could imagine alone. But you put all the ingredients together, reactions happen, things are catalyzed, things are made. So I do want you, whenever you're watching this, to think, what could be possible if we could get the right bunch of people together, or even a bunch that we didn't think was right. But wow, look what happens when we bring all those ingredients together. So it's in that sort of attitude that I want us to enter into this discussion. What is possible? What could be possible in your life, in your career, and in your working with others, and you're working with all the things that technology and the arts can bring to our world.
Yes, because there's no I in team, right? So you could
Oh,
create.
shoot, there isn't.
Yes, there's no I in team. And then you can create so much more when you work with people. So definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Going to just give you a quick career journey, like five pictures that kind of look at my own career journey, and yours is going to be different, clearly, but just to give you a sense that a career journey might not be a straight line. In fact, most times it is not, right? So if I think back, I was so excited very, very soon after school to enter into the aerospace industry. And it was flight, and it was space, and it was just, you know, a very exciting. I mean, I got to walk through in the place where I worked. I could walk through the factory and see them building aircraft that we had a fence that separated between us and Toronto Airport, the Pearson Airport, so we could actually see some of our products, maybe built last year, maybe built 5 years ago, whatever, maybe built last month, and you could watch your product take off on the runway. And we'd at lunchtime we'd be grabbing the fence, we'd be reading the numbers on the aircraft, and it was such a connection. It felt like to the whole world, to the entire world, right? And and so yes, it was manufacturing. Yes, it was aerospace. Yes, it was research and development, and it was also things to your point about STEAM. It was also things like advertising. So I was able, very young, really, when I think about it, it's like, what did you even know? But I was able to write ads for a global company because we were looking for staff. We had 5,000 people there. We needed to hire like 500 per year to keep keep the factory fed. And I got to write things like, in skies around the world, people are aloft on Canadian wings, because we were building these right here in Canada. And so I had a series called On Canadian Wings. And I could just riff on that and put that out there into the world in media, and and see the result of it in terms of the diversity of people that we were attracting, and the hopes that they brought, because that ad helped them to think, hey, I could impact the world.
Mm-hmm.
I could set somebody across the globe that I never met, I could set them aloft on Canadian wings. And it just it was my introduction to seeing how the imagination of a human can be touched even with uh, words, and then you engage them in a process of creating something involving technology and tools and engineering and all of that, that literally would make a difference in the world, right from where you live, right in Malton, Ontario, or Brampton, or Etobicoke, or wherever. That is possible. Anyway, enough about that. Let's leave aerospace and go to the next step, which was teaching college. So it's kind of different. But somewhere along the line, when I was working in aerospace, somebody at Humber College, actually one of my colleagues who had done a guest lecture or two at Humber College, introduced me to the dean of the School of Business. And we got talking just about similar things to what we were just saying, but looking at, how do you help large organizations to change? How does that happen? How do you integrate technology into what people are not as an add-on, but as a part of what people are doing in their daily lives? And then how do you teach people as they're coming through college to be leaders in that whole transformation process? And so I got involved with Humber in doing a postgraduate program, really teaching young people how to lead in this age of transformation. Excuse me. So from building aircraft to building people, and yet it 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 felt very similar, because really underneath it's the same thing. I was not physically building aircraft when I was in that industry. I was building the people who would build the aircraft. Everybody who was going to ever touch an aircraft had to first graduate from my training school in order to touch material that was going to go up in the air. So it's now, how do you build the mind, build a set of behaviors to enable somebody to lead? So let's go to the next slide. Kind of the next step in the journey was while I was at Humber, I got a call from vice president of Bank of Montreal that it was at the time, well, still, it's a very old bank. I think they were started in 1835, if I'm not mistaken. So very old bank. And they also were looking to move into the future. So the building you're looking at probably doesn't look like most bank branches that you've seen, because it wasn't a bank branch. That was something that we built together, we conceived of, and we built together the Bank of Montreal Institute for Learning. And that was to take people who had sort of grown up in one set of ideas about banking, about technology, about how to manage, about what large business looks like in Canada. How do you take that and shift it to, right, to a set of thinking that might look like or mirror that building? And we made the whole middle of the building in the shape of a bow. To imagine that by coming and being involved here in the learning here, we could propel people forward and upward, right? And so it was highly symbolic. They made a massive financial commitment to it, and I had the privilege of shaping the next generation of managers within that organization in terms of their personal and professional skills. So you're launching different kind of aircraft now, human aircraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who would hopefully, because they were all management people basically who were attending, but hopefully they could now take others with them and take others aloft on their wings, if you will. Okay, so you guys feel free to stop me or interrupt or whatever, but we're gonna move from banking to something completely different.
Okay, I'm excited.
So, while at the Institute, again, I got a call from a completely different kind of company. This is pharmaceutical. And they were, again, looking at how do they train and develop people internally in their company, but also out into the community in terms of the communication and information and not training per se, but yeah, but still training of doctors across Canada and healthcare professionals across Canada, because somebody actually has to build all of that, write all of that, produce media, and just do all of that for information to happen. You can create a new miracle cure, but if nobody knows when it ought to be administered or how or what, it's kind of pointless. So that became a very sort of meaningful involvement in terms of, wait a minute, what doctors across this country know about drug X is literally being created by my team.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And every Friday breakfast, when we would share all of our projects together and look at what we're saying and how we're saying it and whatever, it's like, wait a minute, this is super important, because it's going to affect a mother in Montreal with a child with asthma, where she really honestly doesn't know what to do next. And she's sitting waiting to see her doctor. And her doctor might be like, oh, shoot, this is a non-normal case. Let me quickly
Mhm.
look at what I need to be thinking about, and that information is written by one of my team. It needs to be spot on, right? So again, it's combining technology and knowledge and a whole lot of technical accuracy with the need to be very immediately accessible, because they have minutes, maybe 2 minutes to review it, and yeah, and somebody's life and health could be affected. Yeah. So anyway, here we go. Heck, how about that?
That was
Now,
amazing. That was really amazing. What I found very impressive is that you were in like 3 different industries and you propelled through all 3 of them. But the one thing that remained consistent was the fact that people are still needed. Collaboration is still needed in order to propel to wherever you want to go.
yeah,
And
I think the most important, Tony,
yes,
communication.
yes, 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 communication. And Desmond, it's like you were a storyteller in all 3 of those industries. So it's amazing. But the last one, you said that the pharmaceutical company reached out to you. So how did they find you? How did they know to reach out to you? And like, how were you able to like go to all these different industries and still remaining that foundation intact, people?
I think I'm actually I don't remember how they ever got connected to me. I don't, but hmm. Oh, it may be this way. Okay, yeah. So while I was at Bank of Montreal Institute for Learning, right, and I was handed this responsibility of developing the next generation of managers there. Uh, I was enrolled at U of T in the adult education program to get an MEd in adult ed, because I wanted to really understand how people learn. And however, what was happening is I was getting so busy and the responsibilities were getting larger and larger. And I had like no minutes. First, I was attending, but it's like, oh my gosh, I have no time to attend class, do the homework. Like it was getting very extreme, and I had young kids at the time, and I was actually feeling like I was being ripped apart, to be honest, because I and commuting 2 hours a day is just is, and but but along the way, my budget that I was able to manage within the organization, my budget was getting large. So I'm like, wait a minute, whoever it is I want to learn from, I can hire them.
Mm.
Absolutely. so so there was a prof at U of T that I really dug sort of how she thought and what she was doing, and I'm bring Marilyn in as a consultant, and we can work together to build this thing that we're doing at the Institute for Learning. And Marilyn was doing leadership development at at the pharmaceutical company at the time. And so we got talking about what I was doing, what she was doing. And so she was a link to that organization. And an opening came up. They wanted to strengthen their leadership, performance enhancement, all of that. And I ended up going there. But yeah, there are each of us is probably, kind of 6 degrees or maybe 3 degrees away of connection, away from something that is very, very much aligned to who we are as a person and what we can do in the world.
So
Right?
basically, you're saying that networking is absolutely important,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. And being uh, uh, true to your strengths in whatever space you're in today.
Hmm.
Be true to your strengths and your values there. because that's what allows the networking to produce something that is right for you, right? If you're being fake or you're straining to kind of act like this, then your networking is likely to connect you to that thing that you're trying to strain or pretend to be, which would be absolutely wrong for you. And you find that sometimes people get promoted, and then fail because what they're in now is so far from who they are as a person at the core that it's very difficult for them to do well. They
So,
might be in a zone of competence, but not excellence.
so for our students, then it's so important for them to be true to themselves, but you also have to know yourself too as you're growing, as you're exploring different careers, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And taking a minute to ask yourself, so what really felt good? What what was I happy about? What did I really feel accomplished when I did? Right? There are some things I can do accounting, right? I took it. I got a good score. Yeah, I can do accounting. Doesn't bring me joy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's in my zone of competence. It's definitely not in my zone of excellence. Other people can do it way better than I can, certainly faster, and it's not in my zone of joy. But in that zone of joy is where you might be working very hard, but you might be a musician and you are giving it your all, but you're loving it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm orchestrating a future for a company and a bunch of people, it might be using every brain cell that I have, but I'm loving it. And so the more you can notice what helps you feel that way and you gravitate toward that, you'll be you'll still have to work at it, but you'll be amazing. Whereas you work at something else because somebody told you you should, you'll never be amazing. You'll probably be competent, that's fine, but you'll
Mm-hmm.
never be amazing, and it won't feed you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go.
Thank
Let's
you.
go.
Yes.
Let's go. I know that before this meeting, you had asked me to spend a little time. Just tell us, well, what does this company that you lead, that you started, do? So I started Leadertree in order to we help leaders and teams to be more effective. Simple, right? What is it you're trying to do? How could we be more effective in doing that? And that's it. I'll tell you how. We'll run through that, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. So how do we help them be more effective? So imagine this. You're in, a company, a university, a hospital, a government department. You need people within that situation. You really need people working together well. But what we know is that, however, there's just often some friction, some misunderstandings going on, people feeling frustrated because I'm trying to work with this person. It's like I'm talking Swahili and they're talking Greek, and it's like, oh, right? And that's what people, when they open their eyes in the morning, that's the kind of, oh my gosh, here we go again, that they're feeling. And the results within their organization is, wasted time, wasted money, costs overrun, just things aren't going well. And from a business point of view, they're taking too long, costing too much, projects are failing to achieve, here's this wonderful project, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And most of them, the statistic is anywhere between 66% and 90% of projects fail to achieve their stated objectives. Do they achieve some of them? Yeah. But this wonderful golden list that you had at the start, this is what we're going to achieve? Yeah, okay. Um, between 66% and 90% of projects fail to, so let's say projects generally underperform. Along the way, when people get really frustrated, very often good people leave. It's just enough of it. right? And so there's all the attendant costs of replacing, but also the loss of momentum that you get and the loss of morale when your good friend can't take it anymore and leaves. And you're sitting there for half the day wondering, should I leave too? And you just can't get your mind into it. That is what is happening in many, many organizations. Let's go to the next and look at what what doesn't work. But yet, what many companies or organizations do, if they can, they're like, okay, I know it's there, but what if we don't talk about it? Um, we don't talk about Bruno. It's just like, so, or when they, okay, we got to do something, so we switch people around, and well, okay, but all the behaviors are still there, right? But we just move them around. Or the worst, people with terrible behaviors get promoted. And it's like, but what? And somebody said, well, at least you don't have to deal with them anymore. Yeah, but what have we just communicated to everybody in this organization? Is that bad behavior pays. It's like, right? And now this person possibly has even greater power to affect more people. And but this is what I see happening every single day in organizations.
This is so important because I think a lot of times students think that, okay, they're going to go to school, they're going to pick a career that they're going to study for, they're going to graduate and get that dream job, and they're going to just work so happily with everybody in the world. It's just going to be rainbows and Skittles.
Yeah.
When reality is sometimes you get to a workplace and it's not what you expected, and you have these issues like you just came up with. So I like the way that we're painting a reality for students to understand that, like, it's not always going to be rainbows, but we're able to still shift through that, to still find success through it, right?
In fact, we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll be really quick with these because I'm really only just breaking down. So how might you even deal with that? So on the assessment side of things, right? Helping people even to understand, so who am I? What are my strengths? What are my needs? So I'm an analytical, depending on what framework you want to use. If you're using social styles, I would be an analytical. So I need the facts. I need my quiet. I need to be able to focus and put my head into something and really understand it deeply. And if you don't let me do that, like if you're trying to make me react or trying to get an answer or a decision from me prematurely, I want to um, I want to ask you to stop. It's just too much. So just understanding what are my strengths and what do I need in order to bring my best forward. That's super important, and various kinds of assessments can help with that. However, just the knowledge itself, we found, doesn't make a lot of difference. Now you got to kind of coach people through situations, hopefully proactively, to say, okay, what are we looking at next week? What do you know about yourself that would help you inform how you might want to plan out your next week? What do you know about the other person that would help you meet their needs better? Because if you did that, boy, a lot of that frustration goes away because now you're giving them what they need, right? So if the other person is like, say, a driver or a directed person, and they need dates, numbers, dollars, just tell me when, tell me how much, tell me, and the conversation's over. If you know they need that, provide that. Now they're not frustrated. You're not frustrated, and they leave you alone to do your analytical thing. Everybody's happy. So the coaching and the training and the helping people, how do I use what I know now to work better for me and work better for those that I'm collaborating with? And then we find that the third area, instead of assessments and coaching and training, that's kind of dealing with the individual, but individuals live inside of an organization. How do we help to reshape that organization so that everybody can be doing better. And that's not just people, that is technology. That is hugely technology. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's move along. In every piece of this, there's tech. Okay. I'm not going to click on these links, but if you click on sample profile, that is technology that that matches your information with something like 6 million data points from other people, so that you understand how you compare to populations of humans around the world, right? The blue word there, Catalyst, that is an entire global platform that you can get into, right? And get a lifetime access to, where you've got assessments. I can click on Anu, and because I'm going to meet with her next week, and I can see how I compare with her in terms of how forthright am I, how how blunt versus how diplomatic, how visionary versus practical, and I can go, oh, okay, I get her. So now here's how I'm going to prepare for our meeting. She's going to come away from it thinking, oh, I thought this guy was such a jerk, but today he was so understanding. Yeah, because the tech helped me prepare. So all of this has a link back to technology, right?
I think it's important that students also know, like, technology is not about like an industry and a career of what you're going to do in tech, but it's actually a tool that you use, right? So regardless of what career you're in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math,
right,
everywhere we use technology, and it's how we use the technology, but most importantly, it's how we collaborate with other people in the use of technology,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So imagine, okay, if all of this tech, which I can go to on my computer right now, but what if it was alive and attending the meeting, and it could say, okay, you are giving Anu what she needs. You might want to do ABC for Antoinette. And I can go, oh, yeah, okay, let me do that. And I can pause, and I can give you, let's say, the facts and figures that you need. So now you're comfortable, your cup is getting fuller. And it took 30 seconds, but the technology could inform me and shift my behaviors in the moment. And that is happening. That is being developed right now, across 40 languages, right? So that people get help in being better humans in the moment. That's really exciting to me. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So part of this whole tech thing, I'll talk about A-Plan coaching for a moment. This is the organization, the community, the worldwide community through which I provide coaching services to people in, whatever, Houston or Singapore or whatever. And it's not just me. There's a global community of us, but that is bound together by tech, right? So I can pop open my A-Plan app tomorrow morning, and I can connect with my coach, but there's also a world of help inside the app. So I can do my affirmations, I can access maybe a meditation, maybe a breathing exercise, maybe an encouragement toward gratitude, maybe a set of photographs that just inspire me. So all of that is driven by tech. It's all in the app, where we might think of coaching or training as being a people thing. I'm gonna be in a session with my coach, and yet there's so much of that human support that we can provide, and right now are providing through technology. Okay, let's go. All right. I won't spend much time around organizational change management, except to say that for any company to succeed with digital transformation, they will probably need to look at all the ways that that digital transformation affects people, and prepare people for that inform people about that, give them a chance to understand it and feel excited about it, and give them a chance to put their fingerprints on it and say, oh, so if we're doing that, could we change it slightly this way? Because us engineers, this is what we really need, right? So while we're talking organizational change management, and let me just twist it back to technology for a moment, to STEM and STEAM. STEM is we need a whole bunch of programs to make this happen. STEAM is how are people going to use it? How are they going to feel about it? How can I affect how they use it or affect how they feel about it? And in my case, I'm not a technologist, but I ended up learning to code. This is back in aerospace. I learned how to code. I have written over 600 programs to twist and tailor the technology we were putting in for specific user groups that I had, because I found that it's not the tech. It is the tech, but it's how they're going to use it and how I can tailor it for them to go, yes. And when they feel that yes, here we go. Now they're ready to change, right?
Desmond, you've given me an aha moment when you're talking about STEM versus STEAM. I feel like you're saying the difference between that is empathy.
Oh,
user.
yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And this is
And
going to
I've
come up
never
soon.
thought of it like that before.
Say likewise.
Yeah, it's sitting. Yes, it is empathy because it's and how it works on a database. It's literally sitting with
Yes.
empathy, sitting with, feeling with, working with people. Sometimes instead of having big training sessions like here's a new technology and here's how to use it, we would create labs, little labs inside of a company and say, no, bring your work. We're not going to give you a big training course. Bring your work and bring it to this new technology, and we're going to walk through how you would do your work with this new technology.
Yes.
So it's not something over there. We're literally doing your work. So I'm not taking time off of my work for training.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing the training through the work. And so in organizations as diverse as all of this, right? From Mitsubishi Power, they make nuclear plants and they make gas, steam, whatever, all the way to, AWS. I mean, we're familiar with Amazon in terms of ordering something and the box arrives. But you know where Amazon makes the majority of their money? Amazon Web Services, which is their tech company.
Yeah.
Because all the tech that they develop for Amazon, the company, they go, well, I bet you other companies in the world have very similar challenges to what we have, and we've solved it for us. Let's see if that solution works for them. Hence AWS, hence billions and billions and billions of dollars. Right? And then the one right beside it, Tenuity, is a company that goes, yeah, and Amazon is so complex that trying to work that machine, you as an individual or a little group, it'll take you years. But we know the machine, so you tell us what you need to happen in the Amazon marketplace, and we can provide the tech to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tenuity manages, again, billions of dollars of other people's business on the Amazon platform, and they develop the tech around that to know when to market, how to market, product changes, videos, what's working, what's not working, what works in the spring but doesn't work in the fall, what all of that, all that tech, all that data, they make it behave and provide you an actionable to go from data to an actionable insight, which leads to a decision and an action. And then you can measure the result and see if that was the right decision or action. There you go. Okay, so let's keep going.
Yeah,
Let's
because
keep
we got
going.
a lot of juicy stuff to cover. We have like 8 minutes to the hour.
Yeah,
So,
and so let me be real clear on because I'm going to use blockchain as an example of
yeah.
any tech. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm not going to try to explain blockchain except a little. So let's move into it and say, what is
Yeah.
this blockchain thing? Most people think, oh, that's Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just one usage of a technology called blockchain, right? And let's look at the next slide. What does it do? And what I want to make sure, okay, because you probably not remember anything that I say about blockchain per se, but for any technology, whether it is Internet of Things or artificial intelligence or whatever's in fashion on a given day, what does it actually do? What does it enable whom to do? That's taking this question and making it personal now. So who benefits and who would be against it? So let's go to the next slide and look at what blockchain does. So I want to make an interaction with Anu or with Antoine, and a cryptographic key is constructed by the system that makes everything done on that system unique and presumably unalterable. Nothing is unalterable, but makes it very difficult to alter, right? And then that transaction is validated by somebody independent of Antoinette or I, who says, yep, she's who she says she is, he's who he said. So yes, that transaction can happen. They each have the resource to make it happen. Great, boom, it's done. And then that transaction has its own unique identifier in the system. So if some, bad actor comes along and tries to change it and tries to get, my money to go somewhere, they're fooling with it also gets a unique identifier that is tied to them. So you can catch them, right? And so that transaction is complete. So that's what it does. It provides all kinds of cryptographic smartness that enables you to track and verify things to the nth degree, and reveal where cheating happens if it does, or make cheating impossible to happen by putting in place. And here we're looking at use cases, smart contracts, where I can make a contract with you, which we write. Instead, we can write it in legalese. Yes, we should, and we're going to sign it, but then we're going to convert that to code. Okay, that says when I bring my truck full of jet fuel and I attach it to your airplane and I fill up your tanks with jet fuel, the system is recording that. And once we hit, so the fact that I put 100 gallons of jet fuel is recorded in a cryptographically secure record, which then, and the smart contract says, when that happens, when I give you 100 gallons, X amount of money transfers over to me. You don't have to touch it. I don't have to touch it. The system knows gas went in because the IoT recorded that. And we have a smart contract that says what happens when gas goes in and the value gets transferred, and we're good. We're done. Right? Secure, fast. No. So now you have to ask yourself the question, who would like that? Right? And who would maybe not like that? So who would like that? If I supply fuel to your airline, I like it, you like it, but whoever previously would manage that whole transfer of money, so maybe Citibank doesn't like it because none of that is now flowing through them. It goes from, and the value doesn't even have to be measured in dollars anymore then.
So who's managing the blockchain though?
I would go deeper, but I won't. Within the blockchain, then you can define that.
Okay.
You can define who manages transaction set X or transaction set Y. You can define that.
Okay.
You can bake it into code.
So it's like you're taking out the middleman, like you're taking out Citibank. They don't have to get the fees to do the transaction anymore because it's done
Yes.
directly between yourself and myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So is Citibank gonna like it? Maybe not. Now, what if you say, okay, but wait a minute. Now we can define value between ourselves with or without dollars, because a dollar is created by a government.
Mm-hmm.
They define what it's worth. We might use dollars, we might not. We might use Bitcoin, we might use Ethereum. We can now decide whatever we want to be the vehicle of our value. And as long as a community of people globally agree that value can be stored in something called a widget or a Bitcoin or Ether, as long as we agree that that's how value can be, it's fine, because that's all money
So
is
do
an
you
agreement
see
among a bunch of people that it's worth X.
so do you see blockchain like taking over eventually on like
No,
a global
no,
scale or
or
because I
no.
feel like the powers that be won't let that happen.
Okay, so there you go. That's why this set of questions. Who
Okay.
benefits? Who would be against it? Why
Mm-hmm.
would they be against? Understanding technology in that way, because, and let's go to the next slide, because guaranteed, whatever is big today, whatever the big new thing is today, it won't be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It just won't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think our students know what probably half these items
There you
are.
go. There you go.
I'm sad to say that I know each and every one of them.
That's right. So,
Mhm.
so that's why I don't even want to go too deep into
Yeah.
what blockchain or IoT or AI or whatever, because whatever it is, what we need to understand is the previous set of questions. What does it do? What does it do for whom? Who's benefiting? Who's not? How does that all work? And all of that, those are all people type questions. There's technology, yes, but all the who and whom and how, those are people related questions. So let's go to the next one and talk about two words. Because of the fact that technology is always changing, and the fact that I was able to write whatever 600 programs in a particular language at a particular time, that language is probably, I don't, it is still being used. It was made by a company called Software AG, right? But whatever. That language, the fact that I know it or can do it is meaningless, completely meaningless to my career. So that means I have to be resilient as things change,
Mm-hmm.
because the skills I had yesterday that were so valuable will not be valuable today. So what skills will be valuable? So let's go to the next one. The most valuable, the most enduring would be people skills.
Yep.
The only thing that we can do that machines can't do better today is relate to other humans, right? Now, Alexa can tell me that she loves me,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't do the same. I mean, I say goodnight to her every night and she tells me goodnight. But, you know, and I would be disappointed if she didn't.
It's programmed to.
Right? However, it doesn't, right? It doesn't give you the same thing as hearing that from another human being. So this is the last thing we've got left
Mm-hmm.
that we can do better than a machine can, is relate to other people. We still value what we get from another person more than if we get it from a machine. Go ahead.
Yes, that's amazing. So, is it safe to say, because a lot of people, and I'm sure students are wondering, is AI going to take over all the jobs and there's not going to be any work for us? So, is it safe to say that because people's skills are the most valuable, that we're still going to be needed because somebody's still going to be needed to enter something in Chat GPT anyway?
Here's the careful part. What gives me pause? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I mentioned I work for AWS at times. I know, I've seen the amount of work that is being done on capabilities like Alexa.
Mhm.
I have seen from a coaching point of view the work that is being done around virtual coaches. So imagine if I can take all the best behaviors of the 1,000 best coaches, of 1,000 coaches, 1,000 best coaches in the world, and I can bake that into a virtual coach that will do a better job than any individual human coach could. And I have fed that with 1,000,000 coaching interactions between human coaches and human clients. And I've selected all the best, and I bake that in. And that virtual person has a very human, highly inflected voice that actually matches the client's voice tone and emotional level at a given time. That virtual coach will feel like the best coach I have ever had. And they
Mhm.
are providing a human service, even though they're not human. So when people feel like, okay, but there are some things machines will never do, I would want to press the pause button, right? Because I'm aware that there are machines right now providing therapy to thousands of people, therapy that is technically better. It is reflecting the best of 1,000 excellent therapists, which one individual just simply cannot do. We don't have the brain capacity.
So
And,
how does one stay resilient then? So how do these students prepare themselves for the world that could be replaced on that? Like you talked about people skills being so important and collaboration and communication. So what do we tell our students? How do we stay
oh,
resilient
I
through
see.
all of this?
So the reason why I say that what we're looking at is these people skills are the most valuable, the most enduring, is that right now today,
Mhm.
humans still value receiving these sorts of things from humans. We rate that as more valuable, more impactful on us than if we were to receive it from machines. That is today. We value what we get from humans today.
Mhm. And
I'm not saying that is going to change.
yeah.
I'm just saying I don't know if that's going to change. That if I start feeling that I get a higher quality of empathy, let's say, from Alexa than I do from anybody I live with, I don't know if
Mhm.
we will continue to value getting this from humans more than getting it from machines. That's the unknown. Um, the message I would like to give to humans is let's us become much better at doing what humans can do, because it is our last hope. I want I want you to feel more from dealing with me than you would feel from dealing with a machine, which could have delivered all the information that I just delivered, with statistics backing it up, with 15 examples for every point, right? A machine could have done that, but I want to do it. I want to practice being a human so that I can be a human in such a way that you would value receiving this service from me more than you would, because you would get more from it than receiving it from a machine.
Well,
That I
that,
think is a message we all need to think about,
mhm.
because we're not better at being humans. Then we've got a big question to
I also
wonder about.
think it's your life experiences that you shared with us that makes the story so much more impactful, right? Just hearing your journey and how you crossed over in different industries and even sharing your authenticity, how you felt like you were being torn apart and you had to, reach out to hire someone to solve a problem. I feel those are the things that make it more strong, relatable, right? And these students are going to go through different journeys. Like you said, it may not be straight, it might be curvy or whatnot, but they're going to have their life experiences that they'll be able to share and actually coach the generation coming up behind them.
Yeah. So
So,
other awareness, empathy, Anu mentioned. Anyway,
yes.
it looked like you were going to say something, Anu, and I
No,
don't want to
go
talk
ahead.
over it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No. I was just agreeing with both of you. I'm just agreeing.
So I
I
want to
want to underline the last one
yes,
just for 1 minute,
yes,
because
yes.
this is what I see very often in client companies. Emotional self-regulation. We're all, there's so much pressure, there's so much stuff to be done, that many of us humans are getting, it's becoming harder to be emotionally self-regulating. And so behaviors are happening that make us maybe, yeah, less pleasant as humans, and therefore less valued by others. And I think that is something that we should be aware of and think, okay, my job today is to be with this person in such a way that they highly value being with me as a human, because that's all we've got left. We're not smarter than an AI by definition. Like, but we
So
can be more human.
relationships are very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. So I want to say, Desmond, thank you so much for being our speaker tonight and for being a part of this amazing series and sharing your expertise and your knowledge. I know that I myself has learned a lot, and I'm hoping that these students will take this amazing information with them wherever they go, and just remembering to be human, be authentic, and bring empathy into everything that they do. So thank you. Do you have any last words before we sign off? What's the one thing that you want these students to take away and remember?
What she said.
Everything.
No, you hit it perfect. My last words would be what she said, because you captured that. You captured that. Be as good a human as you can and practice it deliberately. This is the value we bring to each other. Let's enhance that value, and we'll all do better together.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk again. Take care. Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Tony,
Right.
before we go, should we just mention?
Yes. I was rushing off.
Yeah, let me just share my screen again. So who do we have coming up next week?
Yes, Jennifer Ledipo. She is an engineer and STEM author. She's going to be sharing her journey of what type of engineer she is and what kind of STEM author is she, what kind of books that she's written. So we'll be talking to Jennifer Ledipo next week, Tuesday. So make sure that you tune in at the same time to hear about her journey.
Sorry. Technical difficulties here.
No problem. And our upcoming speakers involve Kingba Lawson Jack, who's going to talk about nuclear energy. We have Ross Cadastre, who is a CEO of an IT recruitment firm. So he's going to talk about skills that you need for IT and all this amazing stuff. We have Jaheim Henry, who is a midwife. So I'm excited to hear his story and how he decided that I want to deliver babies. And then we have Chico Dili, who is on June 20th, who has some skills in game developer, but she works for GM. And we're going to hear about how game developing has helped her and her skills in her job. So join us every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. and hear about these amazing careers. Thank you.